welcome, Bayo. I've got a few questions for you here. Tell us a bit about what you do and who you help, please.
Yeah, so I am euphemistically called a business coach and mentor. I think I like to see myself as a coach and mentor. And what that really means for me is supporting people, individual businesses, organizations, be they social entrepreneurs, CICs, charities, move forward. And to do that, you often need a plan. And with a plan, you need to often be able to execute the plan. So as a coach, I help first identify what their goals are, be their mission, their vision, and what plan have they got in place or not to execute that goal. And depending on who you are, at what stage you are in the development of your business, organization, whatever, will determine how much you need to put aside into learning about executing a plan. We have very complicated business plans, but the best business plans are simple plans. But what you need is a plan. And what I help do is help people move forward on delivering that plan. Who do I work with? Businesses across the Southeast, so London primarily. Obviously, over the last 3 or 4 years, we've gone a bit international. So I've got a couple of international clients. But I like working with business owners who have the gumption and the wherewithal to do what they need to do, but sometimes they lack a plan, or they are overwhelmed, or they're fearful of going to that next level, or they don't appreciate their success. And what a coach can do is help unlock those, have those conversations that aren't normally had. So for example, this morning, one of my clients is going to New York to put her amazing product on show. Great invitation, boom, boom, boom. But she didn't have a plan. She's just going to go in cold. I mean, of course, she had a plan in her head, but what you want to do is really systemize it, process it, so you don't waste time. You're effective, you're efficient. And the more you do it, practice makes permanent. That's my answer, Karen.
Yeah, I just got to unmute myself. I love that phrase, practice makes permanent. At the end, we've got these little images to get people talking about what we think about some of the things that you're saying. So that's really helpful. How did you get into all of this?
In anger. Let's potted story. So 1991. No, start again. I studied law, wanted to be a lawyer. I went to the city, got interviewed, didn't get a job. Ended up working at Hammersmith and Fulham Law Centre for 10 years. Then I ended up getting my first job in 1992 for the London Borough of Lambeth as the admin assistant. I worked my way all the way through housing up until 2016. Housing officer, team leader, area manager, assistant director, director. I thought I was going to be a chief exec. That particular carpet got pulled under me, made redundant. I was upset, to say the least, and said, what could I do? I've been working for the organization for 30 plus years in housing, obviously not deemed good enough. What could I do? I had 4 boys under the age of 4 at the time. And me and my missus, we always do this. Every 5 years, we compare and contrast. What can you do? What can I do? What can you do? What can you do differently? How far are you going in your business and your work? And I said, you know what? I don't feel I can work for anybody else anymore because I've tried it and it didn't work. I want to set up my own business. I know nothing about setting up my own business. My mum and my dad did, and one of my sisters did, but I didn't. So I just did it in anger. And I realized that a number of my transferable skills were good to set up a business, but there are bits that you don't know that you need to do yourself as a solo entrepreneur. Because when you work for large organizations, and I've done, and some small organizations, which I have done, most of the back office stuff is done for you. Marketing, policy, networking, all of the bits and pieces that really take you to another level. If you're interested in growth and it's not a side hustle, I had to learn very quickly. And hence I set up my own. And why did I do coaching and mentoring? I've always had a passion. My first coach was in 2003 when my dad died. I had a coach, I had a counselor, and that opened my eyes as to who I was at that time. I was a very confident, arrogant micromanager who then lost his father and then realized that the world was bigger than me. And a coach opened up my eyes to that. and I took on some coaching courses there, and I use coaching in my work. Because if you work in social housing, as you probably realise in South London, as I did, working for Lambeth, Southwark, housing associations, you're dealing with a customer base, a client base, and stakeholders who have different needs. And before I got coached and before I got proper mentoring, I just took it as granted. KPIs, just do this, just do that, go. No, you have to have empathy, you have to have sympathy, you have to have understanding of what you're trying to do with them and your teamwork or team players. So that was helpful. And when I realized in 2016-17, just after Grenfell, that we're going to get blamed for everything again, I just said, you know what I'm good at is people, performance, leadership, and management. Let me do that as a coach and a mentor. I started to do that. When you started to network, I realized, whoa, all these business owners are running these businesses, but they don't really know much about leadership, management, performance, and people. So that's where I thought I could step in.
Cool, thank you. I want to add stuff, but I'm holding back. What are the most common pitfalls of organisations that you deal with so that we can avoid them?
Let me put it this way. What's the most common word I've used this morning or this afternoon so far? Anyone want to share that with me? Begins with P. Planning. Not a lot of people plan. And I think a lot of people are scared of planning because they're told to put together a business plan, which is often misinterpreted as a convoluted singing and dancing bit of kit to enable you to do stuff. Obviously, depending on where you're putting that plan, fundraising, bank loan, or partnership or engagement, or contracting or procurement, it can get complicated. But you need to know your A to B, or think about it at least. What's your goal? What's your objective? What are you doing this day? What are you waking up in the morning to do what you're doing? How are you doing it? What are the resources to do it? What's the goals you set yourself, your team, your partners, your collaborators, and even your clients? What are the resources available for you to do all these things? How are you going to get paid? Who's paying you? Who are you going to collaborate with? What are the options to do all the above? Then most importantly, do you have the will, the wherewithal to do it? If you haven't got a plan, you ain't going to do it. You're not going to go to Sainsbury's or Marks and Spencer's and just go Bosch or Lidl's, that's it, I'm just going to go in and then pick bits and pieces. You can do, but invariably you come home and you thought, oh my God, where's the tomatoes? Where's the this? Where's the that? So for me, the biggest problem most business owners or individuals have, they don't have a plan. And a plan isn't set in stone, by the way. It's just a beginning for you to think about where you want to go next. And then you make changes as you go along. So the first time you ever got first time I got a bus or a tube to, let's say, Holborn, I had a certain way of going. And over a period of time, there's a quicker ways of getting to Holborn. And I adjusted my plan accordingly, but I had a plan. So the thing missing for most people, for me, is a plan. And then with that, there's elements of execution, understanding, implementing, changing, etc., etc. But have a plan, have a dream, have a goal, go for it.
Cool, thank you. What are some easy wins and longer term actions that groups can take?
Prior plan, principle, performance. He or she who fails to plan, plans to fail. Practice makes permanent. These are all little sayings. I think, you know, you've got your objective, you've got your goals, you've got where you want to be. Just pinpoint how and who's going to help you to do those things. You know, once you've succeeded in something, sit back and reflect and say, right, what was good there? What was not good there? What was the challenges there? What was the obstacles there? What do I need to overcome? And particularly if you haven't done so well, it's not great. It's not big shakes. You haven't done so well. Sit back and reflect and say, okay, what happened? What went wrong? What could I do better? Maybe I didn't collaborate. Maybe I didn't have partners. Maybe I took on too much. Maybe I didn't address my overwhelm or my imposter syndrome or my limiting beliefs. But if you don't sit back and reflect, you will not improve. I'm into sports. I'm a great sports person, but I do love sports people. And the reason that they're at the top is because they're good and they want it, but they always sit back and say, what if? That's one of my favorite questions, by the way, as a coach. What if? What if you could do this? Okay, how would you go about doing this? When would you go about doing this? With whom? For? Then you do it, it works, crack on. When you do it, it doesn't work, sit back and reflect and work out what you can improve. That's what I say to my clients and people I work with.